Hello again, you. Thanks for sending these in, your essays. I wasn't working yesterday, so I couldn't send them back to you then, but I've gotten around to them now. So at this stage, it's best just to get stuck straight in and try to reduce the number of errors you're making in grammar and that sort of thing. So let's just concentrate for now on the smaller errors. So the general public have different views about whether or not university students should put more priority and spend more time on studying. So I would clean this up a bit by saying maybe whether university students should prioritize their education more. To prioritize, to give priority to. So to prioritize their education would be just the same as that. To a certain extent, I agree that too much freedom is given to students nowadays. I'm sure that's what you meant, but nowadays. I would say that this should be end up. So, and they end up, but that might be a little informal, but that may also be something I've asked you to do. So, I'll leave that as it is for now. I think this is solely. If you mean it to mean only, then it should be solely. Solely for graduation, rather than learning. However, I also think that university is not only the place for learning. Well, that's fine, but maybe tell us what it is then. I believe that university is. Because if we're always using words like not, we're just adding extra words. We can speak positively about anything. We don't have to use negative sentences. So where you say here that some university professors complained, because you're using a sort of perfect form, you're referring to a specific group of university professors. So it's a group of university professors. So then the pronoun doesn't match, because it would then be their classes. But then that's an example, isn't it? We're talking about a real life situation. So this isn't a topic sentence. This needs to be more general. When we introduce the area that we're speaking about, we're quite general, then we expand into it. And we don't really want to refer to a specific group in our topic sentence. We want to keep the idea open. Yeah, so what you're saying here is essentially, you could say that there is an increasing trend for students and teachers alike to desire good results only, regardless of the method. So we're talking about the fact that people just want the score. They don't really want the result of the score. They don't want the learning. They don't want the wisdom. They just want to pass. They want the credential. They want people to say, yeah, you can do that, that's cool. But they don't actually want to know the things. According to a recent survey conducted by the Ministry of Education in Japan, 80% of students in the prestigious, I'd say the most prestigious universities. And you've already said Japan, so you don't have to say it again. You could just say 80% of students in the most prestigious universities skipped a class for inappropriate reasons, such as a part-time job, you don't need this, or participating in a club activity. Cool. However, people also argue that university students can utilize their free time to learn practical skills which can be gained outside of the school. I would say students can devote more of their free time to extracurricular activities. Let me write that one down for you so you can see it. Extracurricular activities. Outside of the curriculum. The curriculum is the stated learnings of a year. So your curriculum for the year is what you will learn in that year. So extracurricular activities are usually things outside of the curriculum that students themselves have chosen to do. Cool. Many students with a computer science major. I would say many students majoring in computer science work for technology companies on a part-time basis. On a part-time basis. Or even as an unpaid intern. I would say to improve their experience or improve their knowledge of the engineering industry. So while lectures give them theoretical understanding, theoretical understanding of computer science, I'd just say it is good to gain practical and first-hand experience, which is highly valued when job hunting. There we go. To conclude, I neither completely agree nor completely disagree with students having too much freedom. It is just a matter of how they make effective use of the time. Yes, you are correct. I think this should be expanded ever so slightly more. I always like to see that the conclusion is precise, that we land on a specific idea. Yes, it is a matter of how effective students are with their time. I would talk about what it depends on. The judgment as to whether students have too much freedom. Yeah, it's about personal choice, isn't it? But I would use the phrase, it depends on, or it is dependent on, would probably be better. It is dependent on how effective, or I suppose we could say it is dependent on how time efficient the student's choices are. Any of those is fine. Let's have a quick move on to your next one. So as you can tell now, your structure is really getting there, and what we need to do is just work on some additional phrases and some smoothing. But we're really coming along now. Well done. Let's have a quick read through this task 1. It can be clearly seen that a higher proportion of people in Scotland bought cars. So let's see if we can rewrite this a little bit. One sec. So I'm not quite sure what this means, because one, we really need to summarize the graph here. So I need to know what the graph shows. You need to say the charts above demonstrate, and you need to give me a really good breakdown of what's happening, so that when you start to explain, it makes sense to me. So you said that a higher proportion of people in Scotland bought, leased, or shared their cars. I'm struggling to understand the data in the brackets. So 75% of people in Scotland bought their cars, and then another 15% leased them, and another 15% shared them. So that means there's 105% of people in Scotland sharing with cars. Now, that doesn't make sense. And then this as well, compared with the English in what way? This is very, very, very unclear. Be wary of that. But as for the bar chart, it shows the total number of VM owners. Always expand first before you give us an abbreviation. I don't know what this means. In these two countries, experienced stagnation between the year 91 to 96. If you're going to say between the year, it's just 1 year. If you say between the years, then it's okay. But it's better, because you've used between the years, to use and. Cool. When comparing the sales between the two nations, Scotland accounts for approximately 60 to 80% of the sales, except for the 3 years from 94 to 96. In those 3 years, England experienced a significant decrease in terms of VM owners, and it ended up Scotland more dominating the figure. So this also is not very clear. Whenever we whenever we read something from a graph like this, we must make sure that we attach data to it, that we have summarized the graph, so that the person reading it can understand what you're talking about without looking at the graph. It's not important for me to see the graph, it's important for me to understand the graph based on what you say. So in your next task 1, try to give as much information as possible. Describe the graph entirely. Your job is to make me understand it, because that could lose you a lot of marks in the real exam. So let's try and increase accuracy in our task 1s as well. But thanks for that. I will see your next essays very soon. Have a good day. See you later.